primaries for them. With me now, Chris Mazzarella. He is the chair of Trump's campaign in the town of Jaffrey, New Hampshire. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Good to meet you, Brooke.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Listen, you know, everything I've read about you, you're known for your cowboy hat, rolling around the state. There we go. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Hey.
And your pet cockatoo to bring in the young kids at the grocery store before you tell them why to go for Donald Trump. You're a microbiologist.
Yeah, that's correct.
This is the first time you've gotten involved in politics. What is it about Trump that resonated so much for you?
What's important, particularly where I live in a small town, and we're now the exception and not the rule. But we're propped up by manufacturing. We have a handful of industries in our town between Millipore, Teleflex, New Hampshire Ball Bearing, very big employers, and there's really nothing that can keep these jobs in the country. If they choose to leave, and most of them are foreign owned by now, they're gone. And what'll happen in my town is it'll be belly up. And you know, there's towns around here. I don't want to mention them, running one into the ground, but there's a lot of towns where the industry's gone. We see it throughout the country in the Rust Belt. You get this culture of despair. Parents aren't working. The kids grow up, see their parents aren't working. And that's where we have a lot of the issues that people like to talk about, but they don't tie, between, the drug culture, the illegitimacy, the collapse of the family, all these things that politicians rant about, but they don't really address the key issue, which is...
And you feel like this is what Mr. Trump, this is what's really resonated for you.
Yeah.
I'm curious, just day to day here, especially in this final stretch here in New Hampshire, how much guidance have you gotten directly from Mr. Trump?
The guidance from Trump, I've been able to work with the field reps and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to do this in a self-directed fashion. So we have a strong volunteer effort. I'm hoping after the primary you can really do a reassessment and then find out which volunteers really put forward an effort, and then try to, if people aren't doing as good of a job, replace them and whatnot. But the guidance that I tend to get is I talk a lot with people like Josh Whitehouse and Matt Ciplowski, and they do a really good job. They say,
what do they tell you?
They say campaign like we're losing, even though we're doing
like we're losing.
Yeah.
From Team Trump.
Because you don't want to be complacent, and that's really what I want. I don't want people to think that that we're doing well. We're not going to go to the polls. Another thing I really want to do is that they've been able to support me. I've been able to get some volunteers to help me, which has been huge. But the last couple of weeks, I've been putting up the big 8-foot posters on the highway. And lately, I've been really getting outside of my region because I want to go to the more populated areas, Amherst, Bedford, Milford. And the goal is really, I want to show to people who probably are leaning towards Trump that this is a real movement. This isn't just something on their TV set.
What's fascinating, Chris, is we have this whole on CNN.com about how people in New Hampshire are vacillating between two seemingly totally different candidates, Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. And in a primary like here, you can go either way if you're an independent.
Yeah.
How, when you pick up the phone, how do you sway folks to Trump?
Well,
what's your closing argument?
Well, first, I don't want to alienate the Bernie people. I mean, because there's a frustration level. And if they're desperate enough to vote for someone like Bernie, who's kind of nuts, I think that...
Well, other folks
I probably shouldn't, alienate them, like I said. But, like socialism, it sounds great in theory. You look at the old clips from like the Russian Revolution. It looks like there's a whole lot of cool stuff going on. They got their coats and their boots and they're breaking out signs. But in reality, when you really compare socialism to our system, the Soviet Union could have been around for 200 years. They never would have invented an iPhone. What we have is a system of incentive. And it seems bad, we operate on greed. But we reward people who improve the quality of life for our people. And
that's your closing argument on why people should vote for Donald Trump.
I try to explain to them that, America has done more good with capitalism than all these other groups and these other ideologies combined. Some of the poorest people in America can pick up a handheld computer and look at someone on the other side of the world. Whereas you look at some of the people in America, really, the poorest people in America live better than the richest people did 200 years ago.
Chris Mazzarella, I'm going to let you get to it. Thank you so much for swinging by. I really appreciate it just to hear all these different perspectives from all these different campaigns is invaluable on this primary day. Coming up next, who is better to be qualified for president? This is what I was